Well, whatever. Hello, good morning. It's Renee. I wanted to share something with you about the powerful of magic. They keep telling you that magic is your inherent right and that, it was stripped from us as humans many, many thousands of years ago. But that right now, the wind work is giving us access to that magic. And some of the ways that you can access that magic is through your grief wind knots and through, the Aya Despacho, through rearranging your altar. All of these are moves from the linear to the sacred space. And then, even as the group leader here, sometimes I forget about magic. And I had a wake up call after our winnowing experience that I really wanted to share with all of you. The other day, it was Saturday, I was right before I started teaching our weekend workshop. I bent over to put something in the trash can, and I was in this kind of I don't know. It was kind of like a glorified hotel room for a week, and it really wasn't equipped for a week's stay. It was more like a weekender. But I was there. I had by makings of my own. My house was rented in the desert, and I was working 12, 10, 12-hour days, so it didn't really matter. I was coming there to sleep. But lo and behold, I was tired, and then I bent over right before the class, and in shadow, I don't see very well without my glasses, and this plastic cactus poked me in the eye. And I'm serious, my eyes started watering. It didn't really start acting up totally until after the class, but it did act up. And then by the afternoon, I had to use an eye patch, and it was leaking, and it was really a pretty horrific experience. And I thought for sure I was going to have to go to the eye doctor because I was seeing double. But I just really laid back with the room, um, and I go back to the room. The air conditioning's not working. It was 85. It was really getting pretty uncomfortable, and the whole situation there was uncomfortable. I was originally going to be spending the week at the La Quinta Hotel, but I gave up my room for somebody who was 9 months pregnant. That aside, and I don't know that I was supposed to be at the La Quinta Hotel because sometimes we need these things to run us down when we're in an initiation. Like, you're just like, can I take one more step? Boom, the initiation happens. So by Sunday, one of the women I work with was kind of making fun of me. She said, like, how come every time I take your picture, you're surrounded in rainbow light, kind of like the light when we did the light from when Bridget did her permasculptures at the retreat. So this has probably got initiated at the retreat and has been going on, and then teaching the class the other day when I was really tired and really had to stay focused not to get waylaid when comments and things try to move the energy from where we were going. It was almost like everywhere in my life something was trying to disturb the perfect flow of energy. And but it's all perfect. I always say that it's all perfect. And so I was on Sunday, my boss was speaking, and we were walking across the grounds of the La Quinta Hotel. Now he a 25th generation rabbi. He comes from a long lineage of that. He's young. He's in his early 30s, and he's kind of a closet rabbi. He doesn't really speak to that. And I was with this other young woman, and literally had just had my patch on and my patch off and my patch off and on and going on. And he hurt his back, so we were walking him over to the spa. And when we were walking over to the spa, there was this moment where I went back to this place like 25 years ago when I was in that pretty much exact spot, walking down a path, and Hank Wesselman, I didn't even know him from, the mountain range, and he said to me, "Oh, hi, how old are you?" And I said to him, "Oh, I'm just turning 40." And he said, he just looked at me with the Hank way and said, "Oh, that's when it started happening to me too." And you've heard my dismemberment story probably with Hank, whereas, he's piqued my curiosity. What started to happen to you? Tell me, tell me. And at the point, I don't know if I had read his book yet, but then I started to read his book about, Spirit Walker and Medicine Walker and all of his series of books. But it wasn't until later. So I went to his journey workshop the first day, and I'm like, okay, well, that was interesting. Nothing happened to me. And so the next day, I went to a lecture he was giving on long distance healing. And in the lecture, he was up in front of the room talking about long distance healing. He said, "Oh, I don't know if everyone was in my workshop yesterday, so I'm just going to rattle everyone in." When he was rattling, I went on this long distance journey back to Egypt and Africa. I was ripped apart. Things were removed, and I was sewn shut with arrows. And for 3 days and 3 nights, I really was in bed. I had dreams where I was taken to the garden for an interview and all of this stuff. But I kept trying to move furniture and things to test that this didn't really happen. But it did, and it was like I had had a hysterectomy. I was in that kind of debilitating recovery for many days. Well, as we were walking across the the La Quinta hotel grounds, I started recalling this story to my boss and to this young woman who also is following a different kind of a shamanic path. And truthfully, right in that moment, I had a miraculous healing and my eye healed. Like in that moment, being back on the land, recounting the story about when I was granted the remembrance of my own magic, there was like a spontaneous healing that happened. I literally haven't used the eye patch since. By the next, I was still seeing a little double that day. I did decide I'd had enough of that kind of poor hotel Airbnb type room, and I got on a plane, flew back to Washington. By the next morning, one wouldn't have even known that I had a poke in my eye. In fact, the woman who from our HR department, because I thought it was a work related industry, she said to me yesterday, "Well, you never filled out the paperwork." And I called her. I said, "I'm not telling you this because you're probably going to think I need to go into one of our behavioral health hospitals." I said, "But I had a miraculous healing on the grounds of La Quinta Hotel in the same exact place that I had had an initiation nearly 24 years to the day before." That's how the wind work works. And so if you are in doubt of your magic and you're wondering where it went to, magic finds you when it's the right time. Like the woman said to me all those years ago in my early 20s, "Renee, you can sit on the curb for the next 20 years and your destiny's going to find you." Well, the destiny's starting to find me. This week I was invited to do a really great interview on a really big talk show, a really big radio show, and I realized it's right in the middle of our I Am Symposium. So how cool is that? You'll learn more about it soon, but in the meantime, it's time to rearrange my altar one more time. I'm moving from Cary to Shu. I mean, these winds with my doldrums have been monumental this year. And Windwork Basics starts next week. And I hope that if you haven't taken it, you come. And if you have friends who would benefit from this work, you invite them. Really, this wind work is about changing the way we live on this earth, moving from the linear to the sacred landscape. And magic is real. Have an awesome day.